What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of TEW Confrontational. My name is Ty Workentine here with my little brother, Evan Workentine.
What up, what up?
Back at you with episode number 51 of TEW Confrontational. 1 week away from the Super Bowl and 1 week away from a full year, 52 weeks of podcast. So, big milestone next week. But yeah, we had the conference round championship games last week where the Baltimore Ravens played the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions faced up against the San Francisco 49ers. Both great games. But yeah, head into the Super Bowl, we have the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. So it's going to be a fun matchup next week. But what do you think about the games, I guess, last week or 2 weeks ago or whatever?
Yeah, I mean,
This
we
week.
can start off with the Chiefs and Ravens. What we mentioned, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. I think they're meant to be in that state, be on that stage, in the AFC Championship and in the Super Bowl. They're phenomenal. I mean, I don't think they can be like they're so used to it. Like I don't think they're like they have so much experience. They're not going to lose. So I just think that we kind of called it the week last week that yeah, Patty Mahomes and Travis Kelce match made in heaven to make it to the Super Bowl, and I just think yeah, it was a good game. Ravens, they'll be back next year.
Yeah, that Lamar
They got a good
Jackson
squad.
probably. Yeah, they probably played the worst game of the season uh at home against the Kansas City Chiefs last week. Probably the
Yeah,
worst performance of the year.
I just think that I mean unfamiliarity and like you said, Lamar Jackson's not good in the playoffs at all. And I just think it was a big stage for them, and they just didn't come to the rise to the occasion and perform at the level that the Chiefs always do in those championship games. So I guess
Right.
I kind of knew it was going to happen, but hell of a year for the Ravens. And then yeah, Travis Kelce, just kind of going into that. I heard some news. If he does, and if they do end up winning, this is his third ring. He's one of the best. I think he is the best tight end. If he wins this, is he going to retire after this year? I heard some rumblings about him retiring if he does win this ring. Why not? There's nothing else to prove. There's nothing else to showcase unless he wants to go on that run with Patty Mahomes and try to get that 6 rings like Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. But
For the love of
he
game,
might
for the love of the game too.
right,
Yeah, he does.
exactly.
He's not
But
gonna want to quit
take care of your
football.
no, but you got to take care of your body. And he is if he wins the Super Bowl, he is the best tight end I think ever.
Yeah.
Three
I mean, yeah,
rings,
for sure. He has the most like
tied with.
receiving touchdowns in the playoffs, passing Jerry Rice.
Hmm.
And I mean, he has like the most yards, the most catches. Like, yeah, he is the best. I would even put him at the best wide receiver, or pass catcher in the league for sure. And over the past couple five seasons or whatever. But yeah, in the last two postseasons, never again. No, I mean, any postseason, but never bet against Patrick Mahomes in the past two postseasons. So this postseason and last, he's 6-0. 101,422 passing yards and 11 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. And he's also 9-3 as the underdog in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
he's going into next week as the underdog against the San Francisco 49ers. I think it's like a 3 point spread, I think, next week. But I can double check on that. But yeah, it's going to be a fun game next week, fun matchup. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, let's just get into, I mean, obviously the next game, Lions, 49ers. Dan Campbell, first time they made the playoffs, the Lions made the playoffs in what, or the NFC Championship in
30
32,
plus years. Yeah.
32 years. So obviously a big stage for them as well, kind of like the Ravens. Obviously more, I mean, a lot bigger because Dan Campbell obviously is getting all that like publicity of being like that hard-nosed coach. And yeah, they weren't able to get it done. I think I called it. I think that the Packers should have been in that position. But anyways, Lions, 49ers, what do you think about that game?
I mean, Lions were up 24 nothing or 24-7 at halftime, and
Hmm.
49ers barely got on the board there at the end of the half. I mean, I thought Lions were going to run all over them. High
Yeah,
explosive offense. They're flying all over the field. But then in the second half, yeah, Brock Purdy rallies back. Um, yeah,
27. Yeah,
down seven.
27. Go ahead.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, go ahead. 27 points in the second half.
Second
Yeah.
half. Yeah. Yep. So I just don't. I hate the 49ers. I don't know why. I think it's just because they always beat the Packers in those big
Yeah.
games. But uh, they found a way to get it done. And now, like, what's the criticism against Brock Purdy? I mean, everybody's saying he's, Mr. Irrelevant last week in the draft. Kind of a system quarterback, kind of got put in that system. where a lot of quarterbacks like Jimmy Garoppolo excelled. And he's in his second year. He's made it to 2 NFC championships, and then going to the Super Bowl. So he's got a pretty impressive resume after 2 years.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he does have a lot of weapons around him, and yeah, I mean, he is kind of a system quarterback, but he does have the accuracy and he does have the arm strength. And yeah, I mean, you've seen him throw balls down the field, and yeah, he's been playing pretty good. And there's no turnovers to try to eliminate the mistakes and the turnovers and everything. And yeah, you have an offense and a defense to back you up too. But same thing on the other side. That Kansas City Chiefs defense has really stepped it up in the past couple of weeks
Mm-hmm.
with Snead and Reed and Chris Jones and
Chris Jones is a
uh,
beast in the middle.
yeah, 100% game record. But yeah, I mean, Chiefs defense have really stepped it up. Yeah, I'm excited to watch the 49ers over the Chiefs. I have the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. That's my pick to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, just never bet against Patrick Mahomes in the postseason. And he's an underdog. Yeah, 2 point spread for the 49ers next week. Um, but yeah, I have the Chiefs in this one all the way. Um,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be right there with you, brother. I think that just familiarity. Been there a lot of times. I think I can't remember the number, but I think it's 6 or 7 times. Patty Mahomes has been in the AFC Championship already.
Yeah,
I,
six time in a row, and all of his starting quarterbacks, 6 seasons started, 6 AFC championships.
and I'm not sure how many times has he been to the Super Bowl because I know this will be his
This is
third
his
ring.
fourth or fifth time. I think he's made fourth time making the Super Bowl. He lost to Joe Burrow twice, I believe,
Yeah, yeah. So I think
in the
that
AFC Championship.
Travis Kelsey. I hope he just dominates. I hope he does. Has like another touchdown, 110, 115, and just balls out. He deserves. I think 'cause usually they do give like the MVP to the quarterback if they do end up winning. I hope that Kelsey does get it because that'd be pretty cool to see. Tight end get the MVP of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I doubt that would ever happen, but
Hey, you
uh,
never know.
Patrick Mahomes is gonna win every award there is if the Chiefs win it again. Yeah, that'd be their second straight back to back. And yeah, fourth, I think it's fourth Super Bowl and or third Super Bowl in the past 5 years or something like that. So
Yeah, this would be they're Kelsey's and Patty Mahomes' third ring.
yeah, so that'd be pretty impressive. And yeah, the like I said, legacy, they're building a legacy over there in Kansas City. Andy Reid, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is probably gonna be a Chief for the rest of his life.
Hmm.
And yeah, and then it was kind of funny after the game, they posted a picture on Twitter or X or whatever of Patrick Mahomes with his shirt off, and he's
Oh
like,
yeah, I
"Dude, why
saw
do they
that.
got to
Yeah.
do me like that?" And I
Getting
have kids
chubby.
and yeah, I have kids and shit. But yeah, that's pretty funny. But yeah, and then Taylor Swift was at the game. Dude, I saw a stat where she's like allegedly generated 331.5 million dollars in like brand value for the
For
NFL
the
and the Kansas
Chiefs.
City Chiefs. Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that as well.
That's pretty nuts. I don't know how they calculate that shit, but like that's pretty.
I think it's kind of I don't know.
Maybe ever
She's bringing
since they started showing her on television, how much sales have they done in the past? But that doesn't necessarily mean it's because of Taylor Swift. I don't know,
right,
but
but a lot of it means she brings a lot of eyes and shit like that. But so going back to just saying this would be Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey's third ring, Andy Reid's third ring. I think if not, does he have another one?
and maybe with the Eagles, I'm not sure.
You pull that up. But just saying third Andy Reid's third or fourth ring. Uh, do they try to go for that that six and tie the New England Patriots for six rings?
Yeah, he only has two right now, so he would join if he wins if they get a victory over the San Francisco
They'll all
49ers.
have three.
Andy Reid will become the fifth NFL coach with at least three Super Bowls. Bill Belichick, Chuck Noll, Bill Walsh, and Joe Gibbs. Bill Belichick up always has six. Chuck Noll has four. Bill Walsh and Joe Gibbs have three. So
Yeah.
I
So
mean, yeah,
he's sitting at three if they do win this. Obviously not this weekend, this coming weekend. I think he goes for it. I mean, it's only three more rings. If you build that dynasty, I think the
well
biggest
then
mistake for
Travis
them.
Kelsey definitely has to stay then.
Yeah, he's got to stay. But yeah, I think the biggest mistake is getting rid of Tyreek Hill. I think he probably agrees. He probably just stayed in KC. Um, he got that big bag, but I mean, obviously, he could have just stayed with the Chiefs and gone to the Super Bowl again.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think Tyreek fits Miami's offense pretty well, and the Chiefs are gonna get some more weapons this next
Yeah,
offseason. I bet because that was
yeah,
their
but
biggest flaw was wide receivers not catching the ball and a lot
yeah,
of drops. So I mean, all they're gonna do is go out and get wide receivers and playmakers. So I mean, I'm not worried. Kansas
yeah.
City
But
Chiefs have always done that.
yeah, what do you care more about? We've seen a lot of receivers do that recently. Obviously, they passed over the years. Tyreek Hill,
Devontae
go
Adams.
get Devontae, go get the bag, but you don't do shit in the. I mean, Dolphins were good during the regular season, didn't do shit in the playoffs. And then yeah, Raiders, they're on their way up. But I think Devontae might be on his way out. So uh,
Go to the
I just
Chiefs.
don't. Yeah, or back to Green Bay where he belongs and playing with that MVP quarterback going to be next year, Jordan Love. So, but yeah, I can't forget what I was going to say, but go ahead.
Yeah, super excited for next week. Yeah, for the Super Bowl 49ers Chiefs. Yeah, in Las Vegas. So would be fun as fuck to go to Vegas next week. And just
Yeah,
hang out at the strip, but that'd be pretty
yeah,
pretty dope. A lot of people probably doing that honestly, because tickets are like $5,000 for a seat at the Super Bowl. So I bet you a lot of people are just going to Vegas and hanging out and like bar
right.
hopping and doing seeing all those games and shit.
Yeah, speaking of that, you said ticket prices. So Christian McCaffrey and his fiance or wife, I can't remember her name, but they were thinking about buying the like one of the like the suite, the biggest suite. It's like a private suite. $2.5 million to rent out that suite, and then some. I think TMZ or whatever came out with an article saying like they couldn't afford it. I mean, reasonably so. I mean, 2.5 million for a suite for. I think they get like it allows up to 20 guests. You get obviously free food, free drinks, and shit like that. But
Yeah,
two
but
point
yeah.
$2.5 million for that.
And he has a big family though too. He has a couple brothers that are in college football right now. Did we touch on that last week or anything like
Yeah,
that? But
yeah, we talked about that last week. Yeah.
yeah, his brother plays at Rice, wide receiver and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, he does have a
hmm
big family. Has a hot ass wife too, and
Yeah,
shit like that.
she's
But
yeah. But I'm excited for this game coming up. It's gonna be awesome. Um, and I think kind of like everybody's been saying, the teams that were in the playoffs or that made it to the AFC and NFC Championship, um, probably deserving. I think you could probably go to toss the Packers in that conversation, but those four teams that made the AFC and NFC Championship were the best teams throughout the year. Um, and I think the two teams in the NFC or in the Super Bowl deserve that too as well. I think they're the
yeah,
best teams.
100%. I thought yeah, going back on the Lions, I thought they were definitely gonna make their Super Bowl appearance, especially for Dan Campbell and the way they started out that game. But yeah, in the last 3 seasons, Dan Campbell as the Lions head coach. In 2021, he went 3-13-1. In 2022, he went 9-8, barely missed the playoffs there. And then this year, he went 12-5 in 2023, won the NFC North title, and made it to the conference finals. So I mean,
Mm.
yeah, hell of a coaching job from Dan Campbell, and I think he's really building a culture there in Detroit. Guys are buying into his system. They all play with heart and everything like that. So I'm excited. I'm not excited. I'm scared for the Lions team heading forward. What they're building there, especially being a Vikings fan and in the NFC North, and the way the Packers ended the season. Scary division. And then also NFC North, Chicago Bears. They have the number 1 and number 9 pick. Are they going to trade away Justin Fields? There's rumors and trade talks about that, and picking Caleb Williams number 1 in the draft. But we'll have a draft podcast after the Super Bowl and everything. But that's just something to keep in mind. Justin Fields could be a trade contention. I've already seen things out there. Potentially Steelers, Atlanta Falcons, Minnesota Vikings potentially. So I mean,
Vikings.
there would be. I doubt Chicago would trade Justin Fields in division, in the division, but
Yeah.
could happen. But yeah, also Kirk Cousins, he's on his final, or yeah, his contract ended this off season or is ending this off season. So where's the landing spot gonna be for him? If do we want to trade him away, get some value for him? He did say he wanted to end his career in Minnesota, so it's going to be an interesting offseason, for sure. A lot of free agents. T. Higgins, wide receiver, free
Oh
agent.
shit. I mean, yeah,
Devontae Adams. Like,
we'll talk.
there's a lot of yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think there's about 15, top tier receivers that are on the going to be in the market that are going to end up in different places unless the team decides to re-sign them. But we'll talk about that in the draft and shit like that after the big game next week. But going back to Dan Campbell, I mean, uh, I think for me it's one of the just see the way his coaching style, the way he carries himself and is is towards his team like one of the it'd be a fun to play for him because he you can tell he really loves his players, loves his team, really has a lot of pride in that. So I think that they're gonna be back. But he did mention during one of his last like post game interview after the game they lost in the NFC Championship, uh, you're not like meant to be like you don't not always going to be there. Like it's not just a given. It
Mm.
takes a lot of work,
It's a
and he says
business, yeah.
he says it's not all. I mean, this could be the last time we ever make it there. So I think him and his team are pretty upset that they weren't able to win that big game. But I think they'll be back. They got a good squad, and just
They're
him as a
pretty
coach
young too.
himself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Him as a coach himself. I mean, he's going to be back no matter what.
Yeah.
And obviously going back to his first press conference when he said, "Yeah, I'm just going to bite the kneecaps off of him," or whatever he said
Hmm.
when he first was hired as a head coach for the Lions.
Yeah. No, yeah, I like Dan Campbell and yeah, Lions have a young squad, pretty talented. Jameer Gibbs, Sam Laporta, both rookies, both being named all stars. So I mean, it's pretty
Hmm.
impressive for those two and the whole squad. And you have Amara St. Brown, who's an absolute dog, and David Montgomery. Like they have and defense. Yeah, they have a young defense too. So I mean, with Hutchinson, and then they have a defensive backs, CJ
Uh,
uh DJ
see,
CJ or CJ DJ or something like that, or something like that.
something Gardner. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean they have a pretty talented team. So yeah, I'm kind of nervous for that next year and
I think it's
for
like
the following years.
CJ Gardner Johnson or something like that.
Yeah, something like the Gardner Johnson. Yeah. But
Um,
yeah,
yeah. Speaking of that, yeah, excited for the game, but then also this weekend or this weekend. I know they did some on Thursday, but they had the Pro Bowl. They did that skills challenge on Thursday night, and then they did I think it's tomorrow. Obviously, it's
Sunday.
Saturday morning. Yeah, tomorrow.
Yep.
Or yeah, tomorrow. They're doing what are they doing? Flag football.
Yeah, they're doing the flag football game and other like challenges and stuff before the flag football. So yeah, they kind of did it like Thursday night football and then Sunday night football. Kind of they're splitting it up, and then NHL is also having their All-Star weekend this weekend as well. So
Hmm.
saw a little bit of that. But yeah, going back, I mean, like you said, Dan Campbell, I thought you were talking about when like the Lions like you won't always be there. I thought you were talking about like the coaching and stuff. And yeah, there is a lot of coaching moves going around.
Yeah.
The two newest ones were the Washington Commanders and Seattle Seahawks finally hiring. Those are the last two teams without a head coach on the market. And they named their head coaches Dan Quinn, former Cowboys defensive coordinator, is going to the Washington Commanders. And then former Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald is named Seattle Seahawks head coach, and he now becomes the youngest head coach. He's 36, I believe. Yeah, 36. He's going to be the youngest head coach in the NFL, bringing that number one ranked defense to Seattle.
Hmm.
What the Ravens were this year. Number
Yeah.
one in takeaways, number one in sacks, and number one in points allowed. They had the lowest points allowed. So taking that defensive scheme over to Seattle. So yeah, going to be a lot of different changes next year. So
Hmm.
going to be exciting, especially come players being traded and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
um,
So yeah, speaking of just like coaching changes like this, obviously this year, none of these coaches I really thought that uh, were going to be head coaches. Like it was kind of some no names that I'd never, not no names, but a lot of people that I had no clue who they were. A lot of coordinators did get the big job, and obviously the Raiders we talked about last week that their interim became the head coach. But two big names that did not get it, and I think they're one of the two of the greatest coaches that have ever coached in the NFL, Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick, with no home to go to,
Mike Vrabel's
obviously
out
next
too. I
year.
think. I don't think
Vrabel,
Mike. I
I
think
think
Vrabel has
Vrabel,
a job.
yeah, he's out. He's out with for a job, but I think that he'll, find a coordinating position somewhere. I do
Yeah.
think. I don't think like I said, Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick. I don't think they'll want to be coordinators. I think, especially Bill, he's not going to want to be a coordinator. I don't think just because he's had that. Like he was a GM and head coach in New England. I mean, he did all of that around there. So I don't think he'd take obviously two steps down and be a offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator.
Right, he might follow Tom Brady into the booth and be an announcer. That'd be pretty sweet. Have Tom Brady, Bill Belichick team up as host, like
Yeah,
Sunday night football, having Bill and Tom
yeah.
talk
I
it
mean,
out and stuff like that. That'd be pretty interesting.
yeah. I was talking with somebody and we're kind of discussing that and saying it's an end of an era. End of an era. I think that Bill Bel or Tom Brady obviously out now is like best quarterback ever not playing, and then Bill Belichick out. I think it's just time to have them walk in. Obviously, Tom Brady's going to be commentating, but just walk into this sunset. Just like we don't need it. It's time for like Patty Mahomes to take over and that younger group of people to have like one of the best head coaches. Take over the NFL.
Yeah, generation, yeah, next generation. But I mean, that'd be pretty sweet. I mean, yeah, I mean, you see Tony Romo. Tony Romo's pretty good at it
Hmm.
as a quarterback. So I mean, having Tom Brady with his brain and way he thinks and dissects things, but then also Bill Belichick. I mean, I know he's not the best with like the media, but he has given some pretty good speeches and pretty good I wouldn't say just like narratives on his team and players and how he scouts and everything like that. So I mean, yeah, I mean he's pretty good in front of a mic when he wants to be. So it'd be pretty interesting to see those two team up if they do go into commentary together. Because I mean, there's really nothing else for Bill Belichick to do. Like you said, I doubt he's going to take an offensive coordinator position or anything like that. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens there. It's going to be an interesting offseason and everything like that. Yeah, like you said, a lot of coaches being changed. I'll just go through the list here. Also, there's a Green Bay Packers move too, but so for New England, yeah, we mentioned Bill Belichick's out. Gerard Mayo is taking over the head coaching position. Vegas, Antonio Pierce, he was the interim. Brian Callahan, Cincinnati's OC, is replacing Mike Vrabel in Tennessee. Jim Harbaugh is from the Michigan Wolverines, going to Chargers. Dave Canales, the Tampa Bay's offensive coordinator, is replacing Frank Reich in Carolina, Frank Reich or whatever.
Right, right, yeah.
Raheem Morris, Rams defense coordinator, going to Atlanta Falcons, replacing Arthur Smith. Like we mentioned, Mike McDonald, Ravens defensive coordinator, going to Seattle, replacing Pete Carroll, and then Dan Quinn, Cowboys defense coordinator, replacing Ron Rivera in Washington as the head coach there. So all teams are filled. And then Green Bay Packers hired Boston College's head coach as their defense coordinator. So I thought that was interesting, seeing a college head coach come up to be a defense coordinator. But and
Yeah,
then yeah, what do you think about that one?
typical Packers move. There's a lot of good coaches in the NFL that could have filled that DC spot, and of course they go to college, and nobody's ever heard of this Boston College head coach unless you're a Boston College fan.
All right.
So of course, they do end up hiring him. But also you mentioned Arthur Smith does get a job in Pittsburgh, so he'll be heading to Pittsburgh. I think he's going to be offensive coordinator. Um,
Possibly, yeah.
no, yeah. So I think he's gonna be the offensive coordinator for Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm glad he found a spot because I do like him and his mustache, and obviously him being on the Pat show. He seems like a cool dude, and I'm glad he got a job because he was getting a lot of hate in Atlanta. Obviously, didn't have the season they wanted, so I'm glad he found a spot. Um, yeah, a lot of coaching changes. It's probably one of the biggest years, like a lot of movement with
Right.
coaching. So
Right. And then, yeah, I mentioned that Mike McDonald, Ravens defense coordinator, going to Seattle. Baltimore Ravens hired their ex linebacker, former linebacker, Zachary Orr, as their defense coordinator. So it's kind of cool going within the team. And he was like an assistant defensive not a coordinator, but defensive coach after he was playing linebacker. So they went within the system, hired a former Raven, so he has the love of the team and the culture and everything like that. So that's pretty
hmm
cool. I thought that was pretty interesting. So, but yeah, there is a lot of coaching changes, and then there could be a lot of player changes too come this off season,
yeah,
when the draft rolls around and everything like that. But yeah, anything else you got on NFL? Excited for
and
next week Super Bowl?
yeah, just pumped
Um,
for that. Yeah, great season. I mean, it's kind of sucks. It's kind of like you know bitter ending. It's last game. We're gonna have football for a while. But yeah, NBA obviously like we got still got sports going on. NBA, NHL, like you mentioned, the NHL. They're kind of midway point where they're doing
yeah,
like the skills challenge and shit like that.
All
So
Star break. Yep.
All Star break. So there's still obviously sports going on, but yeah, bittersweet ending to the NFL season. How long do we have to wait? I think August is when they start their
Yeah,
uh,
August and then September is usually preseason. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, great year. And I think we did every single week. I can't remember what we end up going. What we end up. I can't remember that overall record for the regular season, but I know that the uh, the
The
playoffs.
playoff ones, I'm
Yeah,
8-4, and you're here. I'll just go to YouTube because I have it posted on
you-
there.
you're 8-4, and I'm 7-5.
Yeah.
And then
I
I ended
mean,
up and then the regular season. I mean, we picked every single game. I ended up going to, I think, 178-94. Um, that's what I have here. But it was pretty cool to just pick every single game, all the way up to the end of the season. I mean, obviously, like you mentioned, 52 weeks. Obviously, coming up in the year, we started, I think, this podcast February 11th, of last year. So we're coming up in that 1 year. We're on episode 51, so that means we've only missed 1 week, doing a podcast every week, in a year. We've only taken
Right.
1 week off.
Yeah, I think
So
I
we're at
was down in
51.
Texas or something like that.
Yeah, so it's fun, and I'm glad we were able to do that. And then obviously we got some big stuff coming up. I mean, March Madness is going to be huge. I mean, that's not very far away. So I'm just pumped to keep this rolling. But it was a great NFL year. Uh, Packers played well, and just they have that quarterback. I know NFC and NFL is probably pissed off because you have two good quarterbacks, and they didn't think Jordan Love was gonna amount to what they were, but you know he's gonna be a dog. He's gonna be a quarterback that stays around for 10, 12 years, 15 years, and he's gonna run the NFC North. He's gonna own the Chicago Bears like Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers did. So yeah, I'm pumped about the future and great NFL season. Great NFL season for sure.
Yeah, it was fun season. Yeah, doing the picks and everything, that was pretty fun. And then yeah, we got something to look forward to. Like always next year for the Vikings, so I'm always looking forward to next year. And then yeah,
Yeah.
Packers. Yeah, you're looking forward to next year too because you guys made it pretty far, pretty deep run into the playoffs, and then just fell short to the Lions. But yeah, not to the Lions, to the 49ers. But
49ers. Yeah.
yeah, and then other things like yeah, NCAA. There's a few big games today. You have the Kansas Jayhawks and the Houston Cougars facing off at 3 o'clock. Houston's number 4, Kansas number 8 seed or 8 ranked. So I mean, yeah, that's going to be a shootout. You have Texas and TCU playing. Texas isn't ranked yet. TCU is 25, but that's an in-state rivalry. That should be a good one. And then you have Duke and UNC. The reason why I got this bad boy here. But yeah, cheering on the Blue Devils tonight at 5:30. They're heading to Chapel Hill to face UNC, ranked number 3. So number 7 Duke, number 3 North Carolina. That's always a riot, no matter where they're at. And then you have Tennessee Volunteers heading to Kentucky to take on the Wildcats. That's number 5 seed Tennessee, 10 seed Kentucky. So got college basketball on today. Should be a fun day of college basketball. Yeah, and you got some NBA on tonight as well. You got the Lakers traveling to the New York Knicks to face the yeah in Madison Square Garden. So LeBron and AD both sat out last game against the Celtics.
Which
But
I don't know why, but
yeah, something
I,
with knee and ankle or something like that. But you would expect LeBron to be back, especially playing in Madison Square Garden. Big stage. I bet you, yeah, LeBron plays tonight. So that'll be
yeah.
a good one. Bucks take on the Mavericks. Yeah, I mean the basketball's on pretty much every night, and stuff like that. So it's kind of fun to get a half in or something. Wemby's been playing good as a rookie,
hmm
really good, just on a shitty team. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, basketball. Like I'll go back to college basketball. Yeah, good for Midwest. Nebraska Cornhuskers are playing pretty well. This
hmm
year they've beaten two top 10 ranked teams. I think they beat a 2 and they beat a 6. Obviously they beat Wisconsin. That was ranked
Purdue was number 1 when
1.
they beat
Okay.
them, and that was the
And then
first time they beat a top ranked team in 41 years.
and then they
Yeah,
did it again this year. They beat
yeah,
Wisconsin number 6. This was it last
past weekend. Yeah,
Thursday
yeah.
night or Wednesday night. Yeah. So good for them. And then NBA. Yeah. I don't know if we discussed this, but yeah, Milwaukee. They have. I think we did last week. They hired Doc Rivers. I think we
Yeah, I
talked
think
about
we
that
think we
last week.
mentioned that. But yeah, Doc Rivers, new head coach for Milwaukee, and yeah, they're not doing too hot either with him as head coach. Couple
Yeah.
losses there. So
Yeah, he's got to get it in there. I mean, obviously he's only been coaching for how many weeks? Not even
right,
few
right.
games.
Yeah.
So but yeah, NBA, NHL is popping right now. College basketball is going to be popping here in a few short weeks. Um, I'm excited for. I think March Madness is going to be. We should do something kind of like that too, where we do picks. We'll talk about our bracket and stuff like that
For what?
for March Madness.
Yeah, we'll obviously do that. We'll do that again this year. We'll do the
Yeah,
bracket
but
challenge and everything.
yeah, I'm talking. Yeah, we'll do the bracket challenge, but I'm talking about breaking it down and talking about our picks and like why we think they're gonna maybe not like obviously the start of it, the 64 teams whatever it is, but when we get down to like the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight and shit like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but yeah, we'll probably have Kyle back on, Kyle Lyons. We'll probably start having more guests on since it's gonna start slowing down and not just football and there's gonna be other stuff going on. So we'll probably get more guests on the pod and everything. And with
Yeah,
Zoom and everything, you can have 3, 4, 5, 10 people if you wanted to.
right.
But yeah, we'll start getting some more guests on and shit. But yeah, we'll definitely do the March Madness bracket come March in a month or two, month and a half, I guess, when that kicks off. But yeah, college
hmm
basketball starting to get towards the end of the season, conference play and everything like that. So you're going to see a lot of good games, a lot of rivalries like this Duke, North Carolina game. Tennessee, Kentucky is a pretty good rivalry. But yeah, Kentucky usually dominates that one, but Tennessee's looking good. They have Shaq, whatever his name is, he's averaging 32 points in the last 6 games. So he's
Jesus.
been, yeah, 32 points a game in the last 6 games. So he's been balling out. So yeah, it's going to be a fun day of basketball. But yeah, super pumped for next weekend. Yeah, what's a Super Bowl thing? Yeah, what's your favorite? Like, so if you're going to a Super Bowl party, what are you bringing?
Shit. I think that obviously you had to bring wings. I think wings are the best thing to bring. Are you talking about your food, like your best like kind of dish to bring?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'd probably do. Your wings are pretty good that you make, or about like a B-dubs, get B-dubs delivered. I think the wings are the best thing. You always got to go with the little smokies. Those are pretty good. Um, yeah, what do you think you're gonna bring?
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's a lot of finger food like the armadillo eggs are pretty
Those are
good.
good.
Sausage, bacon, jalapenos, like yeah, there's a lot of good chips and guac. You can never go wrong with chips and guac. And like during Super Bowl, they play those commercials and like statistics, and saw one there was like 8.9 billion pounds of avocados
Oh,
are consumed over Super Bowl weekend or something like that, and like 220 tons of tortilla chips and shit like that.
that's
So,
wild, man.
so I mean, there's a lot
But
of
yeah,
munching going on during the Super Bowl. But I'm pumped for next weekend. Are you doing anything for Super Bowl party or having any Super
yeah, I'm
Bowl?
having a Super Bowl party. Have a few people over. But we're gonna have a lot of food. But going back to your question, yeah, wings got to be one. Obviously, I like the little smokies with the barbecue sauce, the meatballs with that gravy, obviously a top tier. And then obviously you got to have a arrangement of dips, buffalo chicken dip, chicken tortilla, dip and stuff like that. I think you got to have assortment, and even just like a regular like pico de gallo salsa, you got to have like a spread. So because not everybody's gonna like the same thing, and also like try a bunch of different dips too as well.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. But yeah, I don't got anything else. Yeah, just pumped for Super Bowl next week. Yeah, you got anything else, dude?
I don't know. Episode 51 in the books. Now I mean, 50's over. Now we're getting into, working our way to 100. So,
Second half of the century. Yep.
yes, sir. That's
Oh
all.
yeah,
That's all I got.
for sure. But yeah, go Duke Blue Devils. Excited to watch some basketball today. Other than that, yeah, just pumped. Looking forward to the game next week and probably losing some money on some prop bets. I've been doing that a lot lately. But yeah, I got nothing else. So yeah,
Yes,
thanks
sir.
for tuning in to episode number 51 of Two Confrontational. We'll see you guys next year or next week on episode 52. But yeah, that'll make a full year of podcast. So excited for that milestone. But yeah, until then, peace.
Peace.